Hello, everybody. VG Time here with another deck profile. And thank you for those who have sent shout outs. Wondering where I was. I was just taking a little time off due to tournament season being in full effect. So I just wanted to make sure that I was prepared for them. Sadly, it didn't work out the way I thought it would. Lost pretty badly. But hey, you win some, you lose some. So we're back again, and this time we are looking at the Tien Shinahan leader, which is new from Battle Evolution, and was a leader that I was looking forward to for a very long time, simply due to the fact that it's a World Tournament leader. Being a Green World Tournament leader, we only had one option, which was the Son Goku leader, which is a really great leader, by the way. And you could easily take this deck and make it work for that leader. But I just wanted to give this one a try. So let's get into it. First, we have the leader Tien Shinahan. Tien Shinahan has an auto, an activate main, and an awaken condition. So the auto is when he attacks, he gets to draw one card, and then he gets to add up to one card from your life to your hand. That to me is very important, because at least the ordering of it, because before you had to make a decision to take the life to your hand on a lot of these cards first and then draw the card. There might be situations where when you draw the card, it's the card that you actually want. You're not necessarily in a hurry to awaken, so then you don't have to take that life. If you're going against an aggro matchup, it also is important to not be able to take the life if you choose to. And then if you really want to, you could choose to take the life against the slower matchups to get to the awakened side as quickly as possible. His activate main allows you to add a Chaozu that's cost 1 green and 5,000 power or less. We run one card that fits that criteria. Otherwise, there's one other card that's World Tournament that I don't play in the deck, and I'll probably be able to show you that card in a second. Lastly, he awakens at 4 or less life, and when he does awaken, he allows you to add 3 of these multi-form tokens to the battle area and flip them over and untap 1 energy. Here, he becomes Tien Shinahan Mysterious Technique. So what's cool about these tokens and him is that it ties directly into his skill. So when he attacks normally, he would draw a card and get 5k. So he's a 20k beater, which is able to pressure your opponent's hand size. But on top of that, if you happen to have 3 multi-form tokens and or Tien Shinhans in play, it allows you to gain critical as well as pop one of your opponent's battle cards with cost 4 or less. So those things to me are very cool, because swinging 20 critical and popping a card every turn is extremely powerful. Only thing is that this is kind of fragile. Even though there's not a lot of cards that interacts with tokens, red and green happens to do it very well. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the deck I have built it is in a more hand control manner. So as such, the main units I'm using is SS Bardock Paternal Unison. The reason why I use this guy is I think he's actually meta relevant right now. A lot of the red decks that is just being launched in King Piccolo, as well as the blue-yellow Aegis decks, do a lot of things that involve comboing. This guy's auto allows you to choose one of their cards that they combo with and send it to the drop. And you could do that once per turn. So if you're going against King Piccolo and they're trying to play their guys for free, you get to send it to the drop area. And since they can only do that once per turn, they're then forced into a situation where they have to pay full retail for their guys. And as you know, paying full retail in this game is not really what you want to be doing. The +1 is very strong and kind of dictates the way in which you have to build the deck. You're allowed to choose one of your 1-drop green battle cards, send it to the drop area, and then KOs it, and then make your opponent discard a card if you did so. And then the -3 gives him +5k and triple attack. So you could go in on him after you exhausted their resources. Of course, we're playing Unison, so we're playing 4 copies of Charismatic Villain. That should go without saying. Then we have 2 copies of Fuse Zamasu Deity Wrath. Again, hand control deck. I know, these cards are expensive, but I think it's kind of sort of necessary. It's not like absolutely necessary, but it's kind of sort of necessary. Of course, Dormant. This is the card I feel the saddest about talking about, but a lot of decks right now are able to not only go tall, but go wide and multi-attack. So you need to be able to make sure that you can make it through these turns as quickly as possible. And Dormant allows you to get to the later stages of the game. So that's why we run it at 4. So as mentioned, this unison kind of dictates the way in which you build your deck. But that's fine because in World Tournament, we have a cool 1-drop green battle card. And that's this Trading Blows Son Goku. So this Son Goku says that if your opponent has 5 or more cards in hand, when you play him, your opponent chooses one of those cards and sends it to the drop area. So when you combine it with the unison, it's a discard 2, because you play this, make them discard 1, then you pop it, and they discard another one. Going along with that, we're for our super combo playing Vegeta the Lone Prince. He is just like this card, except for he doesn't require a hand size limit. So you could just play this, strip a card from their hand. What's also cool about him is that if you wanted to, you could just combo with him at 4 or less life and draw a card. Which is, the way most people will play him. But there are times where you actually want to use this to pop him off to get like the last card of your opponent's hand, where like that 10k draw is probably worse than just stripping the last card. We played 2 copies of Chaozu Unwanted Reunion. This is due from Battle Evolution. This card right here is a blocker, and when it is KO'd, allows you to play a 3-drop Tien Shinahan from your deck. I believe it has to be green. But when you do that, you could choose to add 1 card from your life to your hand. So he's also pseudo self-awakening. So being a blocker, of course, that's one way in which you could KO him. But also the unison KOs the card that it pops. So you could play this for 1, KO it with the unison, add a card from your life to your hand, and put a 3-drop into play while you strip a card from your opponent's hand, which is very strong. Speaking of the 3-drop Tien Shinahan, we played 2 copies of Tien Shinahan Trading Moves. He just kind of sits out there until you get to this guy right here, which is Mercenary Tile Trading Moves. Now, usually, as I mentioned, you don't really want to pay full retail for cards, but I do have exceptions, and that's when the card I'm playing is going to deal with multiple cards of my opponents, or is going to play me multiple cards. This guy deals with multiple cards. When you play him and the Tien is out there, your opponent discards 3 cards. That's a very powerful effect. Then he's a 20k double striker, and Tien's abilities start coming into play if he's on the table, because you could choose to pop this guy to restand the Tien, give him 5k and double strike. So you can swing 15, 20, then pop it and swing 20, double strike again. We have a new team up or pairing, which is Son Goku, the long-awaited rematch, and Tien Shinahan, the long-awaited rematch. These cards are actually quite nuts. So in the case of the Goku, as long as all your energy is green and you have a battle card in play, you could pay a single green to put him into play as an activate main. He's labeled as auto, but that's a typo. They actually have an errata on him. So you get to put him into play, add 1 card in your life to your hand, so he's self-awakening, and you get this 15k barrier guy who's unique. For 2 energy, as the Goku is out here, you get to play the Tien Shinahan. The Tien Shinahan has an auto that says that you get to choose all your opponent's battle cards that cost 5 or less and KO them. Which is pretty stupid. He's a board wipe for 2 energy. There's enough said about that. But when he's on the table, the Goku gets plus 10k and triple strike. So he's a 25k triple striker and a 20k double striker, all for 3 energy, which is the kind of prices I'm trying to pay out here. And then we play 2 copies of King Piccolo Limitless Power. This guy is basically free. He has multiple applications, one of which is that he's sort of like your opponent thought you had no more plays, boom bap, you put this out here, 20k double striker, which is always good. But also he's good in any world tournament matchup because he just chooses 2 world tournament battle cards in the battle area in order to play them to send them to the drop area. So you could choose 2 of your opponent's world tournament battle cards if you really wanted to and send those to the drop area in order to play them, which is very strong as well. But you also negate those card skills, so if any of them have a when this card is sent to the graveyard effect, none of that stuff happens. 2 hidden power E Supreme Kai. Keeping with the World Tournament theme, you could run Champa if you want to, but he's World Tournament, so why not? Just remember that you do have to choose the card with this card skill. People won't let you slide on that, so but it's still the same thing. You give a double strike, all that good stuff. Now, next up is a bunch of optional cards. So I decided to play a really old school engine that I like quite a bit. We're playing 3 copies of Sun Goku, or SS Rose Goku Black, A Delicate Plan. So this guy comes out for 2 energy if you play it as an activate battle. And when he does so, you get the pop or 2 or less, which is very strong. So on your opponent's turn, if they're going in, like for instance, let's say you went first, but your opponent on turn 2 is playing a launch or something like that, and they come out with the Piccolo Jr. and they're swinging and they're trying to do the hot stuff and make their guy big, pop it. They get those cards initially, but you don't have to worry about it for the rest of, the subsequent turns. But then he has activate main where you can pay 3 and put into play Green Zamasu from your hand. Our main target for that is this Twisted Justice Fuse Zamasu. So again, we're not paying full retail, we're paying 3 to get a 7. This guy right here has basically one auto. The auto says that you can either choose to pop 2 of your opponent's battle cards or choose to make your opponent discard 2 cards at random. Well, you choose them, so it's basically at random. He's 25k, double strike, and indestructible. So along with this guy, the Unison and Leader, you have 4 cards that you can go in safely with double strike and full combo and not worry about your opponent being able to interact with it in a meaningful way. 1 copy of Sun Gohan Hidden Might. This right here is basically my barrier removal. Normally people would play like a copy of Artificial Impact or something like that, but this guy costs 2, so that's the first thing, as long as you have 3 or less life, which is easy to do in this deck. So he costs 2, and because he costs 2, he's cheaper than Artificial Impact. He's a 25k double striker. He has deflect, so you don't have to worry about him getting counterplayed. And then he has additional functionality in which he can remove a counter from Unison instead of popping that barrier battle card, which to me seems pretty good. Last, for battle cards, have a copy of the Kai. The Kai is the most flexible spot. This could be one of several SCRs, or you could choose not to run an SCR at all, which is perfectly fine. No one's forcing you to do that. But you could also run the Grade Ape SCR. You could also run the Boo SCR. You could also run like whatever. But this is the one I chose to run because again, 1 energy, 40k, board wipe, does everything I wanted to do. Extra cards, we played 2 copies of Homicidal Clones. This is my substitution for Shocking Deathball that would normally be in the decks. Homicidal Clones to me is more relevant now because not a lot of 2 or less battle cards are being played in these swarm strategies. They're swarming with big battle cards. So the ability to negate an attack and then make a blocker, which is makes one of these meta tokens, and the token gains a blocker for the turn, is more relevant than trying to pick off something small on the table that they're probably not going to swing with anyway. And then last but not least, 2 copies of Blue Impulse. We do run a Unison. People are playing a lot of battle cards on your turn, on their opponent's turn basically. So the ability for 1 energy to blow up their entire board seems pretty ridiculous. And even if you're paying 2 energy for it, it's still completely worth it. especially if you're paying 2 energy, you're getting rid of 6 or so energy of their guys, or even more than that if you're going against certain decks. So that is the deck right now. You can take a minute to look at it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this deck profile. I'm going to be working on trying to figure out ways to stream more efficiently since the circuit has been ended. See if I could get into some other circuits, see if I could just do some play testing sessions or whatever. Shout out to those of you who were messaging me and were making sure I was okay and all that good stuff. But yeah, I will be back streaming soon. And I'll catch you then. This is VG Time signing out.